Looks really good. My left hand gets a little of that little finger thing. I've been trying to get rid of it in the mirror, but it must be doing something a little goofy that makes it happen. All right.
Ready to rock?
Take one.
Yeah.
My name's Ted Reinhardt. I'm 55 years old. I've been playing drums since I was about 5. I've been playing around, out doing gigs for probably 40 years around Buffalo. Basically self-taught. I've had a few teachers over the years. I never really stuck with lessons. That's, you know, I'm not happy with that, but that's just the way it went down when I was younger. I never really stuck with any teachers very long. But I did have some great teachers that showed me a few things when I was real little that got me on the right start. I basically played along the records, and then when I was about 13, 14, got in bands and learned on the job. Influences growing up were first off Buddy Rich and Gene Krupa, of course. They were my main guys when I was a kid. My parents were super into music, and they used to buy me records. They took me to see all jazz guys when I was a kid. I just had the perfect parents. If you wanted to be a musician, they've wanted me to be a musician my whole life, so I had their backing. Always had me bought me good drums. I had my first set when I was about 5, and when I was about 10, they bought me a brand new set of Rogers, Champagne Sparkle Gorgeous set, which is sad I traded in for $75 in 1970, which is not one of my happier moments. But Gene Krupa, Buddy Rich, and a drummer named Jack Sperling from New Orleans. Played with Pete Fountain and Al Hurt. Big influence on me. Then I started getting into the rock thing, and of course it was like Ginger Baker and Mitch Mitchell, John Bonham, of course. John Bonham made the first 2 or 3 Zeppelin albums were major influence on me. From then I kind of got into more of the progressive things. Michael Giles from the first King Crimson album, huge influence for those first 2 King Crimson albums. Court of the Crimson King and Wake of Poseidon, just great drumming. He had a big influence. Bill Bruford and Phil Collins were huge to me. Then on the fusion side of things, it was Cobham. When I first saw Mahavishnu Orchestra back in like '72, it was a life-changing experience. Let's see, Cobham, Tony Williams, on Tony Williams, like Lifetime albums, great, just big influence too. Steve Gadd, when Steve Gadd came out, still just the greatest all-around drummer ever. Dave Garibaldi. It's abbreviated. I'm forgetting a lot of great drummers that have influenced me. Those are national guys. Local guys, there's been some local guys that have really had a big influence on me. The first was Jimmy Fogel, Dixieland drummer that played with Eli Konikoff and his Yankee Six. Great Dixieland drummer. First drummer I ever sat and watched. He used to let me sit in when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and just a really swinging, amazing drummer. Passed away a few years ago, and it was a sad day. Big influence. Gary Malaber from Raven, and he's gone on with everybody knows who Gary Malaber is. Big influence. Sandy Konikoff, another local guy was huge. Great drummer, played with Joe Cocker. His cousin Eli Konikoff, another really phenomenal drummer. Drummer named Mike Caputi. He's playing in Nashville now. Had a big influence on my love of funk, I guess we would say. Howard Wilson, another great guy from Buffalo, great rock drummer. Louis Marino, one of the greats. He's like Buffalo's Max Roach, man. He's like one of the great drummers, great teacher. The teachers I had, when I was about 7 years old, I went to John Rowland, big teacher. He taught Frankie Dunlop, and a really big, great classical teacher. He taught me to go from this, got rid of the rabbit ears, to this when I was playing traditional grip. Jack Schilling showed me on a drum set that I knew how to do a paradiddle. My dad had played drums in high school, and my dad had showed me some rudiments, and I knew my paradiddles. And Jack Schilling, I remember, asked me, do you know what to do with them? And I, not really. And he played a paradiddle drum solo on his drum set, and it was like, that was when I realized that the rudiments are really functional, and you can play great stuff on the drum set with them. Lynn Harbold was a big influence. I went to him for a couple months when I was younger. Then when I got older, I went back to him. I had been playing French grip, and he didn't tell me to play German grip, but he coerced me, and I sort of, after a few years, I don't even know when it happened, I was playing with my wrists in more proper position. And then Louis Marino, in my 40s, I went to Louis, and he taught me how to read and taught me a lot of great jazz stuff and got me into some of the old books, and just a great drummer and a great teacher, Louis Marino. That's basically my history. I played with a lot of rock bands. Growing up as a kid, I played. I've had a couple, brushes with semi-fame. I played with Spyro Gyra when I was back years ago in the late '70s. I recorded one album with them. We had a band called Rodan. That was a progressive band that did we did a lot of originals, but we did covers too. We did every King Crimson, Genesis, Gentle Giant, Mahavishnu, Return of Forever. We did all those tunes, covered as many as you could possibly do with a band. So that had a big influence on me, learning all those tunes, learning all, Crimson and all those kind of tunes. and that we wrote a lot of music too, which was in that same vein. And I started Gamelan in 1982. Still going strong. We've got, you know, six albums out, or 6 CDs out now, and I played with top 40 bands. I played with a lot of funk bands. In the 90s, I started playing the blues, and I play a lot of blues. I got a band called Willie and the Reinhardts. Excellent guitar player Willie Haddeth, and my brother. The three of us were a three-piece, and we've played probably 3,000 gigs since 1990. Literally 3,000 gigs, probably more. I played with Dave Constantino, the guitar player from Palace, another great local band that toured with Van Halen and stuff there. Billy Sheehan, the bass player, was in that band. It's called the Dave Constantino Band. We play out a lot with him. He's a great rock and blues player. A funk band, Junction West. We have a big horn section and do all the Tower Power and Earth, Wind and Fire and that kind of stuff. So I've had a pretty varied experience. I'm not an expert on everything, but that's basically my influences. I've always thought that the most important thing is trying to get some good technique. If your technique is where you want it to be, you can relax and you can play things you want to play. So I'm especially probably in the last 15 years, I've really zeroed in on what I feel should be the technique. So everybody's different. There's a lot of ways to play drums, man. I've seen guys have the worst technique and they're the greatest drummers on the planet. So for me, I have to feel like I'm playing effortlessly, and this is where I've arrived at as far as how my technique goes. Some of this you probably heard before because it's common sense, and I've seen other drummers talk about it, and it's you know, so many great videos and teachers out there now. But the main thing to me is you have to be super relaxed. That's the core to playing good, is being relaxed. So it all starts just from your posture. When you're sitting, you have to have your shoulders down. I used to play like this when I was younger, and all of a sudden I'd be like, why am I doing that? If you just let your shoulders down, it goes right through your whole body as far as releasing tension. So your shoulders down. I try to really have a relaxed aura about me when I'm playing. I've seen so many great drummers over the years that just they're playing the most amazing drums, and if you look at their face, they look like they're reading the Sunday paper at the kitchen table. You know, Dennis Chambers is a perfect example of that. Great, phenomenal drummer that when he's into his most intense stuff, he's like really. He's relaxed. Buddy Rich, watch Buddy Rich sometimes. He's into this stuff, and he's just got this look. Not that how you look is important, but it is in a way. You have to have a relaxed vibe about you. That's how I feel about it. So your shoulders down. If I'm practicing the pad, I love to sit in a good triangle.